going to talk and reflect about sustainable tourism development in the Great Ocean Road. To begin with, I have to mention that authors like Butler and his sustainable tourism paradoxes, inconsistencies, and a way forward explain how sustainability is an unachievable concept. There is truth in his argument, as every person will have an impact and a footprint in the world just by merely existing, as we all need to consume nature's products and interact with the environment to survive. However, because of this, I believe that it is our responsibility, especially in this Anthropocene era, to do whatever we can to minimize detrimental impacts. This being said, the Great Ocean Road is in a critical state where increased visitation and honeypot attractions are putting stress in the environment and in local communities. New development is being created, and therefore it is necessary to ensure that it is done within the most sustainable framework. Based on the primary data collected from tourism stakeholders in the region, secondary data from academic readings, public sector statistics, and my own experience in the field, I identified top 5 takeaways of the current constraints and the direction of the Great Ocean Road towards a sustainable tourism development. There is increasing cooperation between Great Ocean Road regions through the newly established Regional Tourism Board. There is a search for investment for developing new product and infrastructure. The new tourism product and attractions have been centered on nature-based tourism due to its low environmental impact and in the luxury market for its high yield return. There is a need to combat high regional seasonality. This means that there is high number of visitors during summer, and the lack of complementary product produces low economic return in the region, which leads me to the final point: finding ways to increase yield through quality and not quantity. John McInerny, director of the Port Campbell Tourism Company, explained how even in honeypot and iconic attractions like the 12 Apostles, visitors stay on average only 35 minutes inside. That is why a trend away from increasing visitor quantity and moving towards quality of complementary product development throughout the region seems like an effective way to increase visitor stay and disperse visitation seasonally and geographically. But how exactly can they make this happen? One of my key strategic recommendations to solve this issue is the creation of new products or events that value add to the visitor experience by creating visual and emotional stimulation. In other words, creating experiences and telling stories through interpretation. There is already a wide variety of products in the region, from cheese tours, cultural heritage, Aboriginal culture, wildlife experiences, nature-based tourism, and many more. So why aren't visitors interested in these products? There is a lineal development of tourism in the Great Ocean Road. Most visitors set base in Melbourne and just come to the region for a day trip with the goal of returning with a memorable picture of the 12 Apostles. As tourism developers are creating new products, they should consider the importance of a holistic regional approach. The first steps are already taking place by increasing cooperation and communication in marketing strategies with the Regional Tourism Board, which now aims to advertise each town as an independent entity, highlighting their own attributes. This approach will eventually bring awareness that the region is more than just the iconic attractions, and therefore creating a more even distribution of tourists and promoting repeat visitation at any time of the year. However, little is mentioned on how to unite the region and create the experiences that tourists are looking for. Punta del Este 365 prototype is an example of how events and new tourism development can combat seasonality and create experiences by having a uniting theme. Something as simple as water, which is a constant element in the Great Ocean Road, can ensure that the story being told to the visitors is coherent. From the maritime heritage, to seafood cooking classes or restaurant with a unique view of the ocean, and new aquatic experiences like an underwater art museum which has been successful in Cancun, Mexico. We also need to consider the many factors that also influence sustainable development, from politics, stakeholder interests, policies, or economy, as they also put constraints on a recommendation as simple as opening a new seafood restaurant, as it is illegal for commercial fishers to sell their catch to commercial or the public sector, motivating obtaining and buying resources outside from the region, for example, from Melbourne. In conclusion, further steps in the sustainable tourism development of the Great Ocean Road cannot be isolated from all these factors. There should be an ongoing communication and cooperation between all stakeholders. And just as Butler describes sustainability as an all-encompassing concept that cannot be applied to separate concepts like tourism, tourism itself cannot be separated from sustainability. It should consider economic, environmental, social, cultural, political, and private sector aspects to achieve the less harmful and the most beneficial scenario.